Yes, we shall. Let's do it.
And we are recording.
You betcha.
Hey, man, sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
I was one of our fans on the Instagram, a guy named Eric, or Gray Fox Strategic.
Right, yeah.
He makes holsters for guns and stuff, so he was making me a holster because he wants me to have one of his holsters. So
Cool.
I'm going to take it to the range on Sunday and try it out.
What is it holstering for you?
Oh, my infamous pistols from the Twitters.
Okay, yeah. Okay, right on.
My twin pistols that I bought for Alana and I. So, hey, listeners, I know it's been a while, and I know you've probably missed us, and I appreciate that. This is the Jody Mitic podcast, episode
13.
Ooh, unlucky 13.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun. I'm just going, okay, so a guy with a hockey mask might bust in here.
I think I saw 4 black cats earlier today.
Ooh, Ooh, so
Kinda
we're in the
nervous.
Matrix.
Yes, we
It's
are.
been reset. So anyway, we've been gone for a little while. I apologize. It's my schedule. I am, well, I'm not really sorry. I had an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
Yeah, you're out doing some cool things.
I got asked to go and talk to the troops at CFB Shilo. That's Canadian Forces Base. Well, I guess technically it would be Canadian Armed Forces Base because under the last Conservative government, we got the armed part back in our name.
Right, okay.
Well, did you know in the 90s, like, we were, like, whitewashed? Or in the 90s and early thousands, under the Liberals, we were the Canadian Forces, like, they took out the armed part.
Right.
And they, I remember, I knew we had been, like, we were on the brink of complete pussification when there was a recruiting commercial, and in it though, the guy was wearing all brand new gear, gear we didn't even have yet, but we were like it was coming, and it only showed like, you know, like rescuing civilians and like disaster relief and stuff like that.
Right, yeah. Digging trenches.
And no digging trenches.
No
'cause
digging.
That would have implied war.
Oh, okay, right.
And in the original commercial, there was this dude, and he was getting off a helicopter, and he was like bringing like refugees on or whatever, like
Right.
from like I don't know where, but in his other hand he had his rifle.
Okay.
And then at some point, somebody like I don't know what they did because it's video. I don't know how you do it, but his rifle disappears.
Right. Okay.
While in the commercial, so I'm not saying like while you're watching it,
Yeah,
but at some
they
point
made a new commercial where
they took the commercial and somehow took the rifle out of his hand,
Chopped it
or
out.
there was 2 shots, one with a rifle and one without, and they said, oh, you know what, we should take out the rifle one, and they put in one without the rifle.
Right. Why the hell would they do that?
Like I
Because-
said, they were really trying to pussify the forces back then.
Because,
and then they said, yeah, we'll go to Afghanistan. Why not?
Right.
And the Canadian public went, what?
Go there with what? No guns?
Yeah. Well, actually, fun fact, the first troops on the ground in Afghanistan weren't allowed by law to be armed. But this was like a small advanced group of officers. Like we're talking like a couple dozen people tops. And it was just like, and it's pretty normal. Like most armies have this, like
Right.
until it's actually declared that the army is going,
Okay.
you can't be armed until there's like and like in the States, you know, an act of Congress, or up here it's an act of Parliament or something.
Right. Okay.
So they were like just there as like a forward observation, but like, or not observation, like reconnaissance, right? You know,
photographs.
Well, yeah, like just to get briefed by the
Right.
guys who are already there and stuff.
Make
and,
a plan. Figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and I guess it's pretty normal anyway. But I remember when it hit the news, everyone's like, "Well, oh my God, they're not." And it happened again when we went back into Iraq. I think, you know, it hit the news, and everyone's all up in arms about. Oh, they're all up in arms with the lack of arms.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Like I want to see my guys like strapped with bandoleros, with like
Oh yeah,
just like grenades hanging off of every piece of equipment.
a rifle in each hand, like 6 pistols up the front,
At
like
least one
like
rifle.
Boondock Saint style.
Yes. Of course. I want to see that for sure. That's what I think's going on.
Yeah. Anyway, fun fact there. Where were we? We were introducing. Hey, this is the Jody Mitic podcast,
That's right.
episode 13,
Yep.
and we are brought to you by nobody today.
That's right.
We have no sponsor today, except
Nope.
for Greco Orleans, who once again is awesome to host us. It's just you and me today, buddy.
Yeah, it is.
Where's our man? Our Google guy.
Don't know.
Don't know? Did
Don't
we
know.
not?
No, sir.
No hide nor hair?
No video needed.
Yeah.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
My hair isn't on point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're wearing a Brian the Kid Callen t-shirt, though. Fighter and the Kid.
Of course I am.
I'm wearing Article 15.
I like that.
I
shirt.
actually realized I look like Matt Best.
Yeah. You do,
Actually people
That's
have
true.
been texting me and emailing me and saying, "Hey, are you and Matt Best like long lost brothers?"
Yes.
Because he's clearly a handsome man.
Well, sure.
You
Sure
know?
he is. Yeah.
And I like to rock my multicam pants and t-shirts.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of. Did you see his latest video that I posted on my Facebook page?
No, I didn't see it yet.
Oh, buddy.
Is it good?
It's probably one of my favorite ones that he's done because it's pretty short to the point.
Okay.
And you can tell like they're really like they're just getting better at putting out their videos.
Right. Cool.
And not that they were bad before, but like it's just this one like there's a certain smoothness to this one that you just like you got right. I did anyway. I got right into it. I posted it on my Facebook page for the fans, and I said, if you don't watch this, we can't be friends.
Right. Yeah. Beat it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
anyway, you got to watch it.
I'll
I
do
got to
it.
get one of their T-shirts that says "Fuck your sensitivity."
Yeah, I saw that shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to
I
get
just
some of their
swore,
gear for sure.
Shit.
You blew it. That didn't
Actually,
take
I got a
6
note.
minutes.
I got a note from a fan that said, "Hey, I love how in the last episode you didn't even try not to swear. That's awesome. Keep it up."
Right. That's true.
And I was like, "Thank you, sir."
Yeah. Maybe it's more cussing is what we need.
I don't know about more.
No, I was just kidding.
Yeah. So listen, there's something we should talk about. I know we've touched on it, but Jody 3.0.
Yep.
You know how we pushed it right by 20 days.
Correct.
Okay, so I want to just lay it out for the fans and everybody. Jody, I just talked about myself in the third person.
Yeah.
I'm so lame.
You're awesome like that.
Let me. I don't know. I got to be honest. I was feeling pretty low.
When was this?
It's been for a while. Like I kind of mask it when I'm on the the last couple shows. I wasn't 100%, and even when I went out to Shilo and talked to the troops there, and that was, by the way, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I saw a buddy out there who I met through Soldier On, and he was wounded in 2008, I believe. But he's like a millionaire real estate guy now.
Okay.
He was like
Right
a
on.
private or a corporal.
Yeah.
And now he like owns like 400 properties and like rents out half. Like anyway,
That's a lot.
just like balling, you know, like,
Yeah.
and that's what you want to see, right? Veterans, especially wounded guys, you know, that are forced to retire, like just like hit the ground and just start killing the game. But
That's right.
anyway, yeah, I don't know. I was feeling like I was letting more than myself, everyone else down.
Okay.
Because I wasn't hitting the gym as hard as I should be or as often. You know, that infection I had was a big part of it.
Yep.
And then like some of the, like, I know this is going to sound bad, but the family time, you know, like the camping and, you know, I was joking
Yeah.
around about like, try sticking to your bodybuilding diet when you're camping. Like that was actually really grinding on me.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, and then also, and I try my best not, and I put a little video up on my Facebook page the other day. The social medias was just kind of getting to me.
Out of control.
Well, I'm trying to figure out. As human beings, we're naturally programmed to like 100 people could say you're awesome, and the one guy who says, you know, you're an idiot. We're gonna thank everybody who says we're awesome, but the guy who says we're an idiot is the one that we're gonna be like, man,
Yeah.
why would that guy say that?
That's the one that sticks.
Yeah, well, because again, we're like just like socially we're programmed that way because if the tribe didn't like you were in trouble, right?
Right. Yep.
And now our tribe is global.
That's right.
And you get input from people that you never would have before, and they get input from you. And again, we've talked about this on the last podcast, or when we had our boy from
When we had Adam and Phil.
And Phil.
Yep.
You know, we talked about how I think the worldwide internet is what's going to eventually cause either, you know, it'll be world peace one way or the other. We'll be the Borg, or we'll be able to monitor everybody at all times.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and like if somebody starts to get out of hand with their rhetoric, hey, settle down.
Wait a minute. Yep.
Yeah, or either way, it's world peace.
That's right.
You know, whether we're the Borg or
Yeah.
or we're just keeping an eye on
There's gonna be
each
control.
other. Yeah, so that's all great, but at the same time, taking in a lot of stuff, and with the politics and and some other stuff that's going on, in the background. So anyway, I was just feeling a little just like,
Yeah.
and part of the problem, because I felt I'd fallen so far behind with the working out and stuff, I made the mistake of following a bunch of like men's physique pros on Instagram.
Right.
And remember I was talking to you about it? I was like, I don't want to look like those guys. Like those guys look,
Yeah.
kind of look weird.
Yep.
And so we're in my last 90 days. Today is, and I downloaded a countdown app, and it's called Countdown, funny enough. And
choice.
I have 86 days, 21 hours, 50 minutes to when I'm on stage.
Okay. Right on.
And just as we were entering the last 90 days is when I was really, really feeling it.
Right.
And so I went and saw Nick, and Nick, for all this, he can be kind of tough to get a hold of.
Right.
For a coach. I don't know, maybe it's normal for bodybuilding coaches to be tough to get a hold of. I don't know. I know of a lot of that. From what I've been led to understand, a lot of the culture or like mindset is very much like, yeah, everyone's here to give you advice and all that, but ultimately it's up to you.
Right. Okay.
So maybe that's why they're like that, or maybe that's just the way Nick is. Like we've known Nick for a while. Anyway, and I sat down with Nick, and I was just like, yeah, and he was like, well, first of all, stop following the pros.
Right.
Because they're pros.
Yeah.
And there's a reason they look like that.
Yeah.
And a little bit of it is called synth oil.
Right. Just plump
Which
it up.
blew me away. And you know what synth oil is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone listening who doesn't know, it's this oil some bodybuilders will inject in certain parts of their body to kind of just give it a fuller look.
Yeah.
But there's some guys, if you go on the internet, just Google like synth oil fail. And
Yeah.
you'll find like there's a couple guys in Brazil that just like went to like they probably have like 8 gallons of it in their body.
It's crazy.
I've seen videos of like
looks so
guys with it
weird.
like oozing out of like wounds because they just inject
Gives it like infections and
Yeah. Anyway, so he's like, yeah, some of the pros do that, and there's a reason why their shoulders look so big and ballooned out and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So then we watched a couple videos on YouTube of people that are like my class, like
Right.
first timers.
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
I could totally look like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's just it, man. Like, you got to remember like where you're at and where you want to be, and you can't. It's good to aspire,
Sure.
but at the same time, if you I was comparing myself to these guys, and they're all like show ready all the time.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, I'm a total failure. Like, I don't have abs yet, and I'm not far now.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that kind of helped pick me up, and I got a few other things done, and I've been doing some things differently.
Okay.
So I don't know about you, but when I go to bed, or for the last while, like for the last couple of years, when I go to bed, I'll like put on a podcast
Right.
and put my headphones in.
Yeah.
And I've made a real hard effort now not to do that.
Yeah.
And so when I go to bed, I've noticed like, because I'm always like, I need more time. I always say I need 9 days a week and 36 hours in a day.
Right. Yep.
And now, a la Jocko, our man Jocko, who we love, his thing is, freedom through discipline. And what that means is the more you discipline your time, the more time you have to yourself.
That's right.
And he's 100% correct.
Yes.
And so when I go to bed now, and I've given myself a 9:30 bedtime, where if I'm not putting my head down on the pillow to go to sleep, then I'm missing my bedtime.
Right. Yep.
Because I got to get up. If I want to get everything I want done, I got to get up at the latest at like 6.
Right.
Most days. So yeah, I've stopped listening to podcasts, and I feel a little bad because I'm falling behind.
Right.
Because I listen to so many podcasts.
Yeah.
And books on tape and stuff, but I'm sleeping better, and I don't have trouble. I always thought I had trouble falling asleep. Turns out it's just when you have people talking in your ear.
Right.
It's hard to fall asleep.
Yeah, it can be a little distracting.
Yeah.
Sure, that makes sense.
But because Alana always says, like, when you go to, like she has trouble sleeping.
Right.
Like, her brain is just, like, always in overdrive, and that's part of the PTSD. But she's like, yeah, when your head hits the pillow, she's like, you fall asleep pretty quick.
You're gone. Me too.
But even with that happening, for me, that extra 20 minutes or 30 minutes I would spend being like half awake with like Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub talking in my ear, or Tate Fletcher or Jocko or Brian or Joe Rogan or whoever I was listening to.
Yeah.
That's half an hour where I'm not sleeping.
That's right.
And occasionally I would wake up like at 1 or 2 in the morning with it still in my ear, but it's another podcast because I have like the continuous play.
It just looped into something else.
So anyway, I've eliminated that, and that's really helping. And I dedicate the last 15, 20 minutes-ish of the day to like writing in a journal.
Right on.
You know those big moleskin books I carry around?
Yeah.
So I bought like a calendar one.
Right.
Even though I have the calendar on my phone, I find like writing stuff down. And it's also because every day I like cross out the number for the show.
Right.
So even though I have an app, I'm doing it in the calendar as well.
Right on.
And then every day I'll write down like 8 clean. Like today I cracked and I ate an extra hard-boiled egg.
Okay. Yeah.
From the diet that Nick gave me.
Right. Okay.
But I'm really looking forward to when I get home, my tablespoon of peanut butter and my protein shake before bed.
Delicious.
I cannot wait. But anyway, yeah, man, I was just, I don't know, man. I was just really just kind of just blah about the whole thing. And I was really upset and at myself for, you messed up. And
right.
And I was actually Googling like other shows.
Yeah.
Like, how can I like give myself another month and still
Right, okay.
and still come in under my 40th birthday, right? Because that's the plan. Like 40, 6-pack, looking good up on stage, and
That's
then
right.
and then go have a pizza and a beer after, and never have abs again.
That's right.
That's not true, but I think I will do another show.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, because this one, because now like we've talked about this, Nick, when he did his shows that we knew him for, he disappeared.
That's right.
And now I know, again, I've said this before on the show, I know why.
Yeah. For sure.
I've canceled so many things. Like I go to work, I come home, I go to the gym, I go to work, I come home, hang out with the kids, hang out with Alana, do some housework. If people call and they want to do things, I'm like, yeah, I can't. And it's only been a couple of days, or it's only been about a week of this.
Yeah.
And I'm actually digging on it.
Yeah. I think it's super important to like give yourself, like how you said, like that time for yourself.
Yeah.
Even if it comes out to it's just that 20 minutes or the 15 where you're doing like the journal or you're going over your calendar. If it's your own time, I think that's super important. And actually, my wife is always telling me to take make sure that I'm doing that. Like
does she?
Yeah, always. And I need to be better at doing it because I've done it before, and the effects are awesome. It feels great. There used to be a meditation that I used to do, and it was a 20-minute guided meditation.
I remember you mentioning this before.
I know. And I said before, I need to get back to doing it. Tomorrow, I start doing it.
Yeah.
Let it be known right now. Tomorrow, I start doing it.
Jocko's discipline equals freedom.
That's right.
So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way and mention to people, if you haven't seen me on the social media as much lately, that's why. Also, I've talked about this a few times, like I'm starting to feel like we're reaching a tipping point online and in society where everybody's like uber sensitivity is going to topple.
Yes.
But we're in that point now where it's just so unbearably brutal to deal with. Like I don't even want to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's getting to the point where you have to like censor anything that you're about to say, because there's some group or some person that could and will be offended by it,
Yeah.
and get into a big rant on whatever, Twitter, Facebook, or all of them, about how you've done an injustice to them,
Or the world.
completely.
Yeah.
About one
Did
comment.
we
or
talk
one
about the
picture.
guy who accused me of being in a hate group on the show?
No. We
So
didn't.
this is part of it, and I kind of, like some people, there's that saying, "Don't feed the trolls."
That's right.
But I got this one guy on Facebook, and if you go on my Facebook page and go through some of my different postings and read through the comments, you'll find him pretty quick. And what did I post? I think it was when the guy speared the bear,
Yeah.
with like the video camera on the spear.
Yeah.
I'm all for hunting. I have zero issues with spearing a bear. Especially this guy's a pro hunter. He knows what he's doing. The camera on the spear might be a little more hardcore than.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't we talk about this?
I think we talked about it, me and you.
Oh, but not on the show.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe,
See,
yeah.
we hang out. We don't hang out that much, but we hang out enough that, yeah.
That's right.
So anyway, so I posted it because I'd read Alberta to ban spear hunting, and I was like confused. I was like, Alberta?
And this is the guy whose wife lost her sponsorship.
Well, that was my thing. I'm like,
Yeah,
so because
right.
I read the article, and I'm like, because my post, it was Under Armour just looking for an excuse to get rid of her anyway? Because it was like 4,800 e-signatures,
Right,
and
yeah.
they dumped her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's nothing. So
Yeah.
like, I would expect them to hit like 40,000 before they would even pay attention.
That's right.
And and then when I was reading like the comments of the chick the comments of the woman who started the online petition, or the whatever they call these stupid things, like this, and then like victory, and it's like victory. You just fucked someone's career and took away the way that how they feed their kids and pay
Great
their bills.
job.
Good job, because someone did something completely legal, but it hurts your feelings. So I'm
That's
just
right.
like. But that was kind of my side note. My bigger question was, it looks to me like Under Armour wanted out of the contract or
Right.
something, and so they were like, "Oh, your husband speared a bear? Yeah, you're totally
Yeah,
dumped."
we can't have you.
Like subsection B of Article 4 of the contract says, if your husband spears a bear, we can get rid of you. Like,
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? Like,
Yeah, weird.
because they sponsor a ton of hunters,
Yeah, absolutely.
and every like a spear. I guess the bear ran 70 yards or something.
Okay.
So it's pretty typical. It's pretty much the same as like most like bow or crossbow kills.
Yep.
So no big deal. We've been spear hunting since we invented spears.
That's right.
Maybe 1 million years ago.
A long time
So
ago. Yeah.
don't tell me it's unethical, because the same people will tell you that spearing a bear and letting it bleed to death are the same ones that'll tell you like, oh, big tough hunters shooting from 200 yards away with a big
Yeah.
huge Magnum rifle.
With these type of people, there is no right answer.
Right.
Yeah.
But all that aside, like we're used to that now.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, why did Under Armour ditch her? Right.
Yeah.
So that was my question. This fucking guy comes on there and starts, once again, you show your complete lack of blah 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 blah. I think you read the thread.
Yeah, I did. I went through it.
And like, I call them the social justice fascists. Not all of them. I get it. Hey, look, I'm all about equality. I would love it if we all could just get along.
That's right.
Some people, though, make money on convincing you that there's injustice in the world. And there is. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there isn't. But even the president of the United States, the first black president, said, settle down, everybody. Things are a lot better than people are leading you to believe.
Right. Yeah.
Right? It's the most peaceful time ever, despite what the media sells you.
Mm-hmm.
Things are getting better for everybody across the board.
Yep.
And then one part of his speech that that I was reading that I was really was impressed by, or just really like took note, like took root in my brain.
Yep.
Was when he said, to act like or to say things are worse than ever is to dismiss everything I went through and my grandfather went through and his grandfather went through.
Right.
To say it hasn't gotten better when clearly it has.
Yeah.
Is a complete disregard for everything that's come before you.
Yeah.
For everybody, not just blacks or Hispanics or anybody. Like
that's right.
The whole thing. And I remember, I forget what I was watching, but I heard this but once before. I think it was an MT. What was it? And anyone listening who knows and like can school me, but there was this famous black drummer back in like the 40s or 50s, and he used to like drum in one of those big bands or whatever.
Right. Okay.
And he would stick his tongue out.
Right.
And he would like make faces, and and that was how he kind of got known and got famous.
Right.
And some like young black singer producer was like, "Hey, you know, how come you do that for those fools? Like, why would you behave like that?" And that guy said to him like, "You have no idea what we had to go through back then, do you?"
Right.
Why do you think I did that? And I remember like that story sticking with me because even I would never because I remember my dad telling me a story about when he was a kid and the farmer whose farm that they were like borders on did something. I'm like, why would you let him do that? Like, why don't you just punch him in the face or whatever? And my dad was like, we were basically slaves on this guy's farm.
Right.
If he wanted, he could have sent us back to Germany.
Right.
Like,
unreal. We
we were here to work on his farm, and that was why we were allowed in the country.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna punch the guy in the face. Do you have any idea what it was like when I was like a kid?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh geez, sorry, because you don't.
Yeah. No clue.
And I don't know, like those two stories, just like those three, my dad's story, and then that guy saying that example, like, because we always wonder, like, what it was like back then and why people acted a certain way, and you know what? It's because that's how you had to do it to survive.
That's right.
But anyway, I digress. This dude on my Facebook page, he's like, oh, you don't even know what social justice means, or the word fascist, because you clearly you wouldn't use it. And I'm like, okay, literal Larry, fuck, like, why don't you tell me what social justice is? And his very definition of what social justice is, I think I'm paraphrasing here, but like no one person can be put down or intimidated by the whole or something like that. And I went, you just defined exactly why I hate social justice warriors on the internet.
Right.
And he's like, and he here's what I think. He's a troll. And I finally got him because when I kept like dancing around him and then finally, of course, because when you don't bite, they start to insult.
Yep.
Right? Oh, well, you're an infant. That's an infant move. And I'm like, oh, now you're insulting me. Cool, man. All right, well, have a nice fucking day. Oh, I wasn't insulting, blah, blah, blah. And you know what I was thinking? We should do a skit of actually everything that he wrote.
Right, sure.
And I think maybe we'll do that for the next podcast.
Let's do it.
And so finally, and then a few other people were jumping in and calling him an idiot. And he goes, for my personal knowledge, I need you to tell me that you're not in a hate group, because the words you use are code that you see often in hate group literature.
Wow.
And that's when I called him a troll. I was like, you got me, you fuck. You're a goddamn troll.
That's right.
Haha, you got me. And I was like, all right, beat it. And then he like had to have the last word, right? So he's like, oh, you can dismiss me and finish the conversation, but I forget what he said. But exactly. But basically, you don't think like me, and you refuse to let me convince you of how wrong you are, so you're in a hate group.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, man. You got it. I'm in a group of people that hate you because I'm really hating you right now.
That's right. Yeah.
I even called him an asshole.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, calling a voter an asshole. I'm like, I don't want your vote.
Yeah, beat it.
Get the fuck out of here. I don't know, man. Like, I don't understand this mindset. And I'm trying.
Yeah. Well, there was this
article. And he kept calling me this entitled, privileged guy. I'm like, what am I entitled to that you're not, man?
It is like the.
Am I missing checks? Is there checks that are supposed to be coming into me from like the entitlement ferry?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
or the fucking back room for the white man only fucking entitlement and privilege.
That's right.
I'm like, because I for a real long time I worked for under minimum wage, way too hard, doing a job that I loved. I would have done for free, probably not really actually, but I worked really hard for $50,000 a year, sleeping outside, digging holes, being hot, wet, and hungry, a lot of time and tired, and getting my fucking feet blown off. Again, all part of the gig. Not complaining.
How
just
privileged
saying,
of you.
How privileged. I know. This is what I'm saying. Did I miss the memo that said I'm a privileged person and I'm entitled to something?
That's right. You did.
I must have missed it. Growing up, middle class. Slightly above lower middle class in the suburbs in Brampton. I must have missed that memo when I decided to join the army for $200 every 2 weeks, and when I left my factory job. I wonder where I guess my entitlement just it's out there somewhere.
They couldn't get it up to you on your throne.
Yeah, right. You were so high up there on the mountain. Anyway, because he's a university guy taking a master's degree in poli-sci, I believe.
Right.
He's a farmer, which is a kind of salt of the earth kind of guy. I would not expect this kind of rhetoric from.
Yeah, it seems weird.
And I'm just like, what do I have that you don't, man?
Yeah.
Just tell me. And he either didn't want to answer or had no answer. And if I ever see, and I'm going to see him out there, he lives in the area.
Right.
And he's probably going to hear this, and he's probably going to rant on Facebook about me again.
For sure.
To people that are his little echo chamber.
Because they want the attention. They need the attention.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just don't understand the mindset.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. What am I so entitled to? What am I so privileged of? And why do you have such a problem with somebody spearing a bear that you're gonna take away their money?
Yeah.
Victory.
Yeah.
And then
make any sense.
part of my question was the Alberta government. It said the headline was wife loses Under Armour sponsorship, but then the sub headline on Facebook was Alberta government to consider banning spear hunting or something.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was kind of weird. I'm like, well, that's Alberta. Why would Alberta do that? Alberta doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks. And then right. The NDP's in charge right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so real far left. I don't know, man. To me, I see these guys or these people, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I've drank too much of the Kool-Aid, but they in their minds, they are just so progressive that the rest of us don't get it.
We couldn't possibly.
But they're so progressive that they're oppressive.
Right. Yes.
In their views. You're just a dumb, entitled, privileged white guy who just obviously can't ever get it. So we're going to do your thinking for you from now on.
That's right.
Because we're the enlightened ones. Huh?
They've got it all figured out.
Okay, 1984, settle down.
Yes.
Don't tell me how I'm supposed to fucking feel about stuff, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to eat meat. I'm gonna drink booze after my weight cut's done.
Of course.
And you know what? I'm gonna watch movies with too much violence.
Yep.
Probably some sex and car chases and explosions, and I'm gonna love it.
That's right.
And then I'm gonna cry when I take my kids to see Finding Dory.
There you go. What's
and
wrong with
so if you don't like me, that's fine. And there was another thing I posted because people now are starting to get mad at us public figures for blocking them on Twitter.
Yeah.
How dare you block me? Well, hey man, you're a dick.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear your shit.
Yeah. How can you not expect that? What makes people think that they can just shit all over somebody and have no repercussions?
Well, this could lead us into the first thing we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, because all these things that we've been talking about and thinking is now becoming officially recognized, like Time Magazine.
Yeah.
Tell us what the article said.
They said it is we're in this phase. The title was "Why We're Losing the Internet to the Culture of Hate," and they talked about in the little clip that I seen, it's online disinhibition effect. So that's what the experts are calling it.
What's it called? Disinhibition. So inhibition is is like you don't want to do something.
Like your
Why do they got to use such big words?
Yeah, I don't know. But your inhibition
Hey, smart guy,
will give
can't you just
the
say
restraint.
People are willing to be dicks?
Yeah, so people are willing to be dicks because they're behind their keyboard, right? And like their Cheeto fingers and whatever.
Full disclosure, though, we've all done it.
Yes, of course.
When the internet was young, and so were we.
Yeah. And like you had your like awesome dude 69 at Hotmail like email address, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what they were talking about in this article, and that's what's going on. People have this freedom to be dicks that they may or may not be expressing in their face-to-face everyday lives. Probably not. Right. But they go online to get it all out for whatever reason they're upset.
Right, but. Yeah, well, we touched on this with Adam and
Phil, yeah,
and Phil. Right. I've always had my first email address was Mitic Man.
Right.
So like not very many Mitics in the world.
Yep.
And then on Facebook, Twitter, all that. My email is always my name. Like I've never not been me, I guess.
Right.
But I remember MSN Chat or whatever.
Yeah.
And people would just, like you said, they'd be like Dorito fingers 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they would be dicks. And I remember when you're younger, right? In my 20s being like, oh yeah, no, fuck you, man. Like blah, blah, blah.
For sure.
And over weird shit, but and I just, that was part of my whole like being bummed out for a while thing. I'm just like, man, like why do I put myself in these positions?
Right.
Because I used to have a great time on social media, mostly just talking to people that were my friends.
Yeah.
Or wanted, or like thought like me, or like, and then, when I got elected, suddenly there's people that are like, oh yeah, like mining my tweets and all that. And now like, and the first time, it was fun. And then the second time it was, like, okay. And then the third time, and I'm like, man, how much can you write about social media? And then the backlash from people who don't even know you.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And I shouldn't even call it backlash. It's just the uninformed criticism.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. Very uninformed. Very uninformed.
Like. So yeah. So you know what? When I talked about this, no face, no real name, and no location. Guess what? Block.
Yeah.
I didn't block everybody who was all over me. There's some people. There's like some guys there's some people I started following.
Right.
Be like, well, you know what? This guy might not agree with me, but he has some stuff to say, and I want to see it.
Yep.
And and I, like I said, I tried to have some discussions with a few people, but some people are just on there to be angry.
That's right.
There's no, and unless you 100% agree with them, they're not ever going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. I think that's,
Yeah, because it's this amazing tool where you can communicate with people all over the world instantly.
Yeah.
And instead, you feel like you need to block people because they can't behave appropriately and just like have a regular conversation.
Remember when you have a disagreement with someone, you can get heated, but like you're supposed to have a discussion.
That's right.
And I get, hey, Twitter's 140 characters. I'm not going to debate anyone on Twitter, but I'm still going to try. Like I tried talking to some people.
Yep.
And like even the ones that eventually came around and were willing to like chat, like there was still no like, and I don't expect them to come to my side, but like just like, okay, try and convince me instead of just berating me and calling me a loser and calling me a racist or calling me a bigot or whatever.
Yep.
Based on like half of what you heard me say.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then you know what? And then eventually, if you're just going to be a dickhead, block.
Yeah.
If you're an asshole, block.
It's not worth it. Takes up too much time.
Except the dude on Facebook, I keep him around.
Right.
He's just fun. He's just fun. My staff are like, you got to block him. I'm like, nah. He's just a
good.
troll. He's fine. He's
Yeah.
fine. He's just a sad little man.
Too funny.
Wow. Big long rant there.
A little bit.
Yeah. You want to come over and help me clean up my basement someday soon?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay, how about, never mind. Sorry. I love that, eh? Hey, you want to loan me $20? Yeah, I totally want to. Would you be willing, as my friend, to come over and help me clean up a little bit?
This sounds like something I could be willing to do.
I could really use the help.
All right. Well, let's do it.
Well, I'm trying to set up an office. And to do that, I got to clean out the basement, and I will become much more productive. We might even be able to podcast from there.
Neato. I'm in.
All right. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. What else you got for me? You're in charge tonight.
Hey.
And anybody listening, Luke has done all the prep.
First of all, I'm in charge every night. Just kidding.
Of the Jody Mitic podcast. We have this. How often are we going to have this discussion?
Every time.
Every time. Have you watched Range 15 yet?
No, I have not. Your invite to me to come to your place and watch it seemed to have gone missing somewhere. Yeah, I don't know if...
I'm sorry. I need to remind you you can just come to my house anytime you want.
Did you send the messenger pigeon, or...
I'm pretty sure the listeners will testify on my behalf that I told you on the air to come to my house and watch the movie.
Well, we'll see.
My point is, hey, come watch the movie, and then we'll clean out my basement.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds right.
All right. Sounds awesome.
Okay, I like it.
So what do you want to talk about now?
We were talking about meditation earlier. I found this thing super cool. Meditation. Harvard has now found proof that meditation does build brain cells.
That's right.
Yes, it does.
That's right.
So they were talking about...
So builds or strengthens? Because I thought brain cells, once they were dead, they were gonzo. Or is that all myth now? Is that disproven?
I don't know about that, but this is like...
Because remember that when we were kids, they would say don't sniff glue and don't hold your breath till you pass out because you kill brain cells and you don't get them back.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, oh my God, what if I run out of brain cells?
So maybe you don't get those back, but maybe you can build new ones. But this was talking about like an actual increase in the amount of gray matter in the areas that help you deal with anxiety and stress. Right? And also increase in the areas for memory, learning, and self-awareness, which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
So everybody needs to start doing meditation immediately. And I'm pretty sure you talk about this too. Like when you do your talks to like troops and things like that, you talk about this, right?
Well, my thing, and I used to meditate a lot more. I used to yoga and meditate when I was still operating with the unit. And stuff. I don't want to say Bushido, like it's not a Bushido lifestyle. It's not the Spartan lifestyle, but it is the warrior, the soldier lifestyle. Like there's a reason why samurais meditate.
Right.
There's a reason why warrior monks would fast and pray all day.
Right.
Because they had a tough job.
Yeah.
And a tough existence. So you have to take that time for self-reflection. And even part of my speech that I gave at Shilo was, hey, there's the CO, there's your sergeant major, there's your section commander, there's the unit doctor and the psychiatrist and all this stuff at your disposal. But the number one indicator for how you're doing is you.
Right.
You're the number one evaluator of exactly how you feel.
That's right. Nobody's going to know better.
And nobody's going to tell you. And, some people will try to tell you how to feel or how you should be doing. But part of strengthening your mind is being able to go inside of yourself and sit still for half an hour at a time.
Absolutely.
And, so I 100% believe it. And, and just like you were saying, like, I got to get back into it more. Like I do a little bit now. I probably meditate once a week right now.
Right. Okay.
But I want to do I'm trying to do it every day.
Yeah.
Like that. Like I shouldn't say I'm trying. Like that's my goal.
I think to that point.
I think with the 90 days and a big part of doing this bodybuilding thing was to get myself back to the structured lifestyle that I was used to in the Army.
Right.
Because it's very regimented. This, wake up, eat, go to the gym, come home, go to work, come home, eat, a lot of eating.
Yeah.
Not as much eating. I'm really hungry right now. Like I said, can't wait for my tablespoon of peanut butter. And that was the other thing, part of why I was feeling down a little bit, because I felt like I was more reactionary to everything. I've been living that way for a while. Like, we talked about it a little bit now and then, but I have had undiagnosed ADD for most of my life.
Right. Yep.
I don't know if I haven't heard of ADHD, which I don't know if I'm hyper. I don't think I'm hyper. Maybe I am, but the ADD for sure. Like my MO or my medical doctor was just like, yeah, so you have ADD. Not a big deal. A lot of soldiers have it. Most special operators have it. It's just the wiring, right?
Yeah.
So because I don't have the regimented lifestyle, like it's kind of gotten out of control in the last year or so.
Right.
It's with the job and everything, with the politics. So I'm really like I'm on a med now, which I haven't ever done before. I tried Ritalin once when I was like trying to figure out why I wasn't like getting stuff done, and that's when it was diagnosed, and they were like, well, why don't you try Ritalin? And it made me feel like a battery with a loose wire.
Okay.
Basically, it's like
right.
Bzz. I like kept like I was like walking around just like tripping all day, like
Right.
And
Weird.
I think I told this story. I didn't sleep for 3 days straight.
Right.
When I took my first pill,
Yeah.
and like I could see sound. It was crazy. Like I was driving at night, and like lights, like the headlights were like the sun going by every time.
Right.
Anyway,
A little much.
so I'm on a different med that is like for the first couple days it was kind of like this feels like Ritalin,
Right.
but now it's like I guess, and they warned me. They said it'll
Things have
take
kinda leveled
a
out.
while. It'll take a couple days a week, and the first week it was like half dose, and then the
Right.
second week I got the full prescription, and it was
Okay.
it was a full dose, and but they were like, yeah, just give it its time, and now I think it's starting to work.
Okay.
But
Right
also, but a big part of that is that I have to put that effort in, like we were talking about, that discipline to get up on time, do your work,
Have that structure. Yeah.
right? And meditation, which is what we were talking about, is a part of it. And even I know with my legs, I've said it's tough for me to do yoga, but I gotta start doing more stretching.
Right.
Like instead of like lifting tomorrow, because I've lifted now 3 days in a row. So tomorrow I'm just gonna go to the gym and stretch
Yeah.
for like an hour.
Yeah, that's important too.
And because my lower back it's tight now,
Yeah.
which didn't used to happen. My SI joint's been rough for a couple years, but now like my whole lower, like when I get up now and straighten out,
Takes a minute.
it's been hurt. It takes a few seconds, a few extra seconds.
Yeah.
And if I do, what's the one where you're looking at the sky?
I think you're looking for like Cobra.
Is it
Something well, I mean, it probably has a ton of different names, but it's basically like back bending. It's like you're going into
Yeah, your arms straight and your
Yeah.
head up.
Yeah, Cobra.
If I do that, my
Yeah.
back loosens right up.
Yeah.
So got to do more of that. But yeah, meditation, I think there's a reason why every culture ever has it.
Yeah, and it's not like this isn't new.
No. It's
Yeah.
like this isn't like, this isn't new stuff. Every culture, every group, every tribe has had some kind of meditation and, self-reflection ceremony of some kind.
That's right. And like people should know too, like it doesn't have to be like you don't have to be chanting ohms like in a dark room somewhere. It can be nothing. Just sitting and trying to be like quiet and trying to quiet your thoughts, right? It is hard to do. Like it takes practice to be able to meditate well. You find like your mind goes and you're like, oh wait, I was off thinking about work, and then
let
you
it
come
go.
back, or let it go.
Just let it go, man.
There you go, man.
But don't move.
That's
Don't look at the
right.
phone.
Yep.
Don't turn on the light. Or if the light's on, don't turn it off.
Yeah, so there's
Like,
many
don't-
different ways
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get done. Yeah.
If you can just just start with 5 minutes. And that was the other thing with my routine because I got out of it. A lot of people make this mistake. They go, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to do a Jocko. I'm going to get up at 4:30, and you might do it for 1 or 2 days.
Right.
But hey, man, Jocko is a special creature. He can go to bed at 11 and get up at 4:30. No big deal.
Yeah.
But we're not all like that.
That's right.
So I've been pushing my alarm back by like 5 minutes every other day.
Right. Okay.
And
Yep.
so I'm almost back to 5 a.m.
right on.
waking up, right? But yeah, so if you're listening, don't think tomorrow you're going to be like Jocko. Be realistic and like just move your alarm clock back like 5 minutes every day or every other day. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you're, okay, now I'm used to getting up
You'll
a little bit.
find your sweet spot too.
Yeah, there's that too. Like, because I've talked about how if I lose half an hour at the front end, I got to make up like an hour at the back end of my sleep.
That's right.
So that's not as much anymore. Now that might be the ADD meds too.
Right. Okay.
Because you do feel pretty awake
Right. Okay.
when they kick in.
They get things fired up.
Yeah, but you can still have coffee and stuff like that. So, but anyway, what else do you want to talk about?
We should probably get into. Well, we were speaking of the stretching, and we had a guy who reached out with some questions about that, like along the lines of working.
Do you want to do
out
fan
and
questions now,
flexibility.
or do you want to do it later?
I turned this into a little coach's corner, and then we can get to the questions.
Well, hang
How
on.
about that?
I don't want to talk about the football guy because I have
Done with
differing. I have two different opinions in my head,
Yep.
and I listened to Brendan Schaub on the Fighter and the Kid podcast.
I didn't hear it yet.
So I don't want to. Anyway, because well, you know what? I'll talk about it a little bit.
Sure.
Because you have it here. So we all know what happened. What's her name? What's his name? Kaepernick?
Yep.
The starting quarterback for the 49ers. I didn't know, like, one of the people one of the veterans groups I follow on, like, Instagram, like, put a picture of him up standing next to, like, $1 million car wearing, like...
Yeah, that's right.
Like a $10,000 suit and being like, oh, but you can't stand up for this flag or something.
Yeah.
And then I read his statement and I went, oh, that's a weird statement.
Right.
Because right in it, he says, if they take away football and they take away my sponsorships, I'll know I'll have done something that I believe in or something like that, right?
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's a kind of a weird thing to put in your statement. It's almost like that's what you expect to have happen.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm like, okay, well, what's the motivation to say that instead of saying like, nah, this is what I'm going to do from now on. If you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself. Like, just fine. Like, I've said this a million times. Protest is the best part about democracy.
There you go.
Because you're allowed to protest. And
That's
if
right.
your protest is you don't stand for the national anthem, hey, man, I'm not down with it. But at the same time, there's a whole lot of people online, a lot of veterans.
Yep.
Because that's the first thing people say, right?
Yeah.
The true patriots, which are usually like the right-wing people, which I'm slightly right of center for sure on a lot of things, especially when it comes to the flag and patriotism and loving this democracy called Canada. But at the same time, don't go saying you're offended for me.
Right.
I'm not offended by him. I'm not American either, but I think the example I heard was, what if one of the Red Blacks players wouldn't stand up for Canada?
Right.
Well, you got to think about the context of why they're saying it. But this all rewinds back to what we were saying before, where even Obama's saying like, "Hey, everybody,
Yeah. Let's not go
it's not
overboard
as
here.
bad as some people are trying to make it sound." So anyway, when I read, I was like, "Is he like getting ready to quit?
Right.
Like maybe he's quitting football anyway?" So then I'm listening to the Fighter and Kid podcast, and Brendan Schaub, who's an ex-NFL, well, he was like in the NFL for, like he says, for a cup of coffee, but
Yeah.
but he's a lifelong athlete, always been a football guy until he went into MMA. He was saying Kaepernick has been playing like shit anyway,
Right.
and the 49ers, according to the rumors, were getting ready to cut him no matter what.
Oh, okay.
So now, brilliant move, protest the flag and the anthem. And now if they cut you, they're a bunch of racists and reactionaries to you standing up for Black Lives Matter.
The plot thickens.
Well, that's a smart move.
Right.
I don't know if that's what he was thinking, but
Yeah.
maybe sort of he was thinking like, hey, it looks like I'm going out on, like, so you got to respect it. He's kind of going out on a shield if that's what happened.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because he's standing up for what he believes in.
Yeah.
Never mind, like, yeah, whatever. I guess, people like $100 million contract, he was adopted by white people when he was a kid or whatever, like, whatever. That doesn't really change anything.
Yeah.
If he believes what he's saying, that he has the right to protest.
Yep.
So, but I'm torn as well because I'm like, really, man, you want to pick the anthem
Right.
when they're raising the flag of the country that you were born in and what has the opportunity? Like, just the NFL ain't anywhere else.
That's right.
You weren't going to be a quarterback in any other country, even Canada. You ain't getting a $100 million contract throwing footballs for the CFL.
Ew.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Yeah, you get paid a lot of money to throw around a ball.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to protest? Some people would say maybe there was a better venue,
Right.
but maybe that's the perfect venue.
Maybe because it's perfect because it gets so much attention.
It's getting a lot of fucking attention.
That's right.
Look, we're talking about it up here in Ottawa, Canada.
That's right.
And I don't even watch NFL.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I'm just getting a little comfortable here. So yeah, like I'm of both minds with this one. I think awesome that he is willing to do that, but at the same time, I don't know. Like again, we've said this a 1,000 times. Like we don't know what it's like to be a minority,
Right. Yeah.
in this country. So or in the States. Oh, but I was thinking about this because I've been doing a little bit of research into police in the States and around Canada and stuff, and because his statement was something about a flag that oppresses people of color and this and that, and that's 100% true in the past, and maybe the system is still regurgitating some of the old ways of thinking, but I would not counter, but my observation as just a 2016 guy reading the history books. Mm-hmm. Every race that has come to North America since the original French and English has had, and Spanish, I guess, in the Southern Americas, has had its trials to be accepted.
Right.
The Irish, the Chinese, the second wave of the Spanish, I guess, the Italians, the Nordics, like they were pushed
Right.
into the upper, they settled all the, like Minnesota, like the middle America where it's really cold and stuff. Like that's all Nordic,
Right.
people that were even in Canada, our far, our western provinces were all settled by Ukrainians and Bulgarians and stuff. And they actively recruited them to come here because they're just simple, it was, like simple farm folk that won't ask for much, but will grow us lots of wheat.
Right.
And they can handle living out there in the middle of nowhere and won't, they're used to being oppressed by their kings and that, so they won't ask for anything and we can treat them like shit.
Right.
Irish need not apply, right? Like all that, Scottish, know your place.
Yep.
So, and this is just my observation as, again, a privileged, entitled white guy. I probably shouldn't say that. It's kind of a serious point, but I want guys. If you look at, there's areas of the states where it's 99% white.
Right.
Play Arkansas and a few other states. You ever seen the movie by Johnny Knoxville called "The Wild and Wonderful Whites of"? Oh, where is that? The Wild and Wonderful Whites of Carolina or something like that.
No, I didn't catch that.
Oh, buddy, you got to watch it.
Yeah?
It's basically they follow this white trash family around. These hillbillies. They're hilarious.
Right.
But they're real people.
Yeah.
But in that area, they're the bad guys. Or
Okay.
whatever. In everyone's mind, like they're the thugs, they're the
Right.
drug dealers, they're the ones always shooting people.
Yeah.
They're the ones always getting shot. But they're all white,
Okay.
right? I want to see a study that looks at the income of people getting shot. Black, white, Chinese, Mexican, Spanish, Canadian, Native, whatever.
Yeah.
What do they on paper make?
Right.
Because I would argue there's a case to say that our system is designed against poor people.
Right.
More so than race at this point
Okay.
in time.
Yeah.
In the past, 100% I agree, and maybe like the residual effect of hundreds of years of oppression, especially on the blacks in the States, has led to them being the mostly the poorest people in certain areas.
Right.
But I wonder if our system isn't like it's rigged against the poor people.
Well, it doesn't seem far-fetched.
Yeah. Maybe not our system as much in Canada because we are considered a little bit socialist by the rest of the world.
Right. That's true.
In certain manners. But I don't know. Man.
It'd be interesting to dig up some data on that.
Yeah. But you can't argue with the disproportionate amount of blacks in the jail compared to their population percentage and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
So anyway, I just, I respect them for taking his stand by sitting down.
Right.
But as a veteran and as somebody who believes in what we're trying to do here in North America,
Yeah.
and based on our conversation earlier that we were talking about, there's some people that if there's no racial strife, they have no raison d'etre.
Right.
Right? You know, it's like like the IRA is still around.
Right. Yeah.
When, like that war is pretty much considered done, or I guess, I don't know. But there's some people that just can't let go.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
They're hanging on.
Yeah. So anyway, I just, that's my two sides of that situation.
Yeah.
But we in Canada, so what do we?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, we'll go with your coach's corner.
Right. So there was this one came in after the last show, and I told this guy Stuart that we would get to it on the next show, and I think it's probably a lot of people are dealing with the same type of thing. So he said, "Can you offer any advice on flexibility? I'm trying to get back into working out, but have very limited range of motion to where I think I'm asking to get hurt if I lift. I'm quite active at my work and pretty strong, but have very tight hips and back, especially to where I can barely touch my knees on a bad day." So that's pretty wound up. That's wound up pretty tight. Said I work on doing deep body weight squats and just hold it as long as I can, but I don't know what else to try. So the number one thing here is really to have a consistent daily practice of working on the flexibility. Right? And you can do any number of things, but it has to be very consistent, especially if it's something that you've been dealing with for a long period of time, right? It's not going to fix in 1 week or 2 weeks. It's going to be over a period of time, and you have to be super consistent with these types of things. And if like for this guy, if he can barely touch his knees, he's very, very tight and likely pretty weak outside of that range of motion. He said he's strong at like at work and he's kind of active there, but if he's not getting past his knees during these things, likely if he goes past his knees to try to do something, that's when the injuries are going to come on, right? And a lot of people find,
especially if he rushes it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where a lot of people like, oh, I dropped my pen and I just bent over to grab it and like my back went out. The pen wasn't.
I blew 4 discs.
That's right. The pen wasn't too heavy for the back. It's because the back was so weak out of that range of motion. So the first things to do is to focus on the flexibility and the range of motion to restore balance function to the whole body. And like you really have to address the whole body, even though like the back and hips are the main focus, but you really do need to address the whole body. The resistance workouts still do them because the body needs to be strong, but it should be focused on light or body weight and focused on using full range of motion for that joint and always being pain-free, right? If you try to strengthen a structure that is unbalanced, the unbalance is just going to become greater.
Right. So the biggest mistake, like with all things to do with the body, is everyone's in a hurry.
That's right.
And also,
take your time.
Yeah, but also recognize, I think, moving forward that every day, just like when you're in the gym and you do bench press, and when you do bench press, I've been doing bench press since I was 15 or 16. I'm almost 40. I still do bench press.
Right.
Every time you're at the gym, you do, or every other time, well, it's the same with the stretching.
That's right.
Right? Oh, well, your lower back, it's a bit of a problem. So every day you want to stretch it out, or every other day you want to stretch it out a little bit, right?
Yeah. You got to be on it consistently. And there's some things that you can go and do. If you type into the interwebs, on the Googles even, Egoscue, and that's EGOSCUE, and do, these are going to be movements, okay? So type in Egoscue and do static wall.
Spell that again.
EGOSCUE. So type in
EGO
EGOSCUE.
UE.
Yeah.
So I know, like, there's people out there scrambling for pens and hitting the 15-second rewind on the iTunes.
That's right. So, and anybody can do these movements because they're super gentle, and take your time going through them. And there's tons of examples that when you type this into Google, You want to do static wall, standing windmill, upper spinal floor twist, and hip crossover.
This is what you're recommending to our man here?
Yes, it is. Do that. Do that. Email me. Tell me how you feel, but do it.
And does he do it every day?
Do it.
Or start like one day a week?
Do it every day. This stuff is...
What if he's sore? What if he does it today and he's like super sore tomorrow?
Then, of course, listen to your body and don't force it. Never force it, but if you can do it every day, do it. This stuff is made to be gentle, but depending on where he's starting from, it's possible that, he could be sore, you know? But... search those out.
Sorry, man. I'm yawning on you.
It's getting late here. It's getting late.
It's 10 o'clock. It's past my bedtime.
I know it is.
Apologize about that. You know, sorry to interrupt your coach's corner.
Treat yourself.
I got to go to a dermatologist.
Okay.
Did you see, like, this, like, shoulder is just, like, full of zits.
What's going on with
so
that?
So gross.
What's going on with that shoulder?
And they're, like, the deep ones. Like, you can't even, like, pop them because they're so deep.
Right.
I don't know. It's not the other, like, my whole back is fine. It's just this one shoulder right here.
There's some weird stuff going on there.
And I got all these weird little, like little bumps here. Like,
those are spider bites for sure.
I don't know. My daughter has them, too. It's almost like an allergic reaction to something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to bad times.
So sorry to interrupt you, but so our man has to Google spell it one more time.
EGOSCUE.
And then what is that, like a series of movements, or is that like a proven?
That is a person's last name. The full name is Pete Agoscu. He's developed this system. I went to San Diego 6 or 7 years ago and got certified in the posture alignment therapy program that he set up.
Oh.
And I did that because I got such good results from it as a client.
Right.
Yeah.
Aren't you going to San Diego again sometime soon?
No, sir. I would love to, though.
Aren't you going to the States
Diego.
For something? Or is that your wife?
No. Catherine's doing a thing in Costa Rica.
Oh, that's what it is.
That might be what you're thinking of. Yep.
Cool, man. Well, that's a good coach's corner.
Yeah, and anybody can try that out. And I recommend that you do. If you have questions, get on the emails and hit us up.
We're just over an hour here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to get to bed.
Let's slide into these questions.
Hang on. You know what? I just saw we just got something on Instagram.
What do you got?
Oh, just some big ups from Luis Martinez 5114.
We see you, brother.
Just a quick shout out to on Instagram, Luis Martinez. And if you're not Spanish, I apologize for putting that little accent on there. I just can't have Martinez. Always makes me want to talk like that.
Yeah, of course.
It's like when you say Pierre, you want to say it Pierre, like the Francais.
Yeah.
Anyways, Luis Martinez 5114 on Instagram. And he's just saying, you don't have to talk to everybody on social media. Learn from Jocko. Fucking Jocko.
Just ruling the world.
No, he's awesome. He's amazing. Actually, I called him before I did my thing in Shilo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just to like run it by him. You know, like I hadn't talked to I've never talked to soldiers that way before in a group. Okay. Like these aren't guys that are like, these aren't veterans and these aren't like generals and colonels. I've addressed rooms full of like high-ranking officers and stuff.
Yeah.
On just matters of like the heart and of like just, hey, just riff on your feelings on whatever.
Right.
But these are these are young troops that are like looking at like I always say, like if I was a private and 39-year-old Jody showed up, I would be like, oh my God, this like dude has done it and seen everything, and I want to learn everything from him, and anything he says is gospel.
Right.
So I was like actually intimidated.
Okay.
Because I'm like, well, you
were feeling the pressure.
These troops might be listening to this podcast soon.
Yeah.
And so like, I want you to know, troops, hey, 100%, I am a grizzled veteran, I suppose, although I do not feel like one.
Right.
But, it was intimidating to speak to them in the fact that I knew what impact I could have.
Okay.
And I'd never done that before. So I called Jocko and I was like, hey man, what do you think of this and that? So we had a little riff and he helped me out because he does that for like companies and stuff.
Right.
And he's,
for sure.
He was like I said, I forget his rank in the Navy, but he was the equivalent of like a colonel.
Right. Okay.
And he used to be an NCO as well. But anyway, So this guy says, so Luis Martinez 5114 says, just finished number 11, just one behind. You guys are hitting a groove. You say you regret not training one more sniper or more soldiers through your Canadian battle course, but you are training people through the podcast. I'm 46 years old and I'm learning. Thank you. Well, Louise, I'm glad you sent me that. That makes me feel good, man.
That's cool.
And I hope you enjoy 13 as much as you enjoy 11 and 12. I thought I had a question on Instagram. That's why I opened it. I thought somebody sent me one the other day, but I'm not seeing it. And you know what? I got to get better at highlighting questions. 'Cause I get a lot of stuff just randomly sent to me on Instagram DM.
Right.
I don't know if that's like if I got to close something, and but I don't want to limit people's ability to get in touch with us.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, let's go with the questions you got, my brother.
Okay. So we have that long one from Australian Jake that you sent me. Remember that? It came in as, I think it must have been like an email. Do you want to tackle that one tonight?
Read it out.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, he says, really enjoyed the podcast. Just listened to number 5 the other day, and it was really cool to hear your nod to the Aussies. You're bang on with the comparison of us as South Sea Yanks to New Zealand's Little Canada. I served some time in the Australian Regular Army, and while I can't complain too much about most of the kit we used while I was in, I have to disagree about politics not playing a part in what we got. The quality of some of our locally made and remanufactured gear at times could be pretty awful compared to some parts and equipment from overseas. He says, incidentally, as a tank soldier, we got more excited about getting our hands on secondhand Canadian or German road wheels and replacement white boxes than our local ADI manufactured stuff. These days, I appreciate anything that stimulates our local economy and provides jobs, but the irony is this is a complete 180 for me from when I was in the leads. And to a question I have for you, if you think it's worth discussing, while I was in, I was of the opinion that outside of basic human decency, i.e. we are all good guys, soldiers had no business having any sort of political agenda, and I had no interest in federal policies except to vote for the party that was buying us the most bullets. At this time, the party, he puts in quotations, liberals, was in power, and we had a fat old tie blowing heaps of shit up. But at the same time, there were lots of changes made to fair work and union regulations. This bit me
Is there a question in here?
It's coming. It's coming. This is all the lead up.
Sorry, I love him for sending this, but at the same time, we might have wanted to edit it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is. This bit me in the ass when I transitioned into Civvy Street and became involved negotiating workplace collective agreements. So my question is, what do you think about soldiers and politics? Do political discussions have a place amongst professional fighting men and women? Can the individual politics leaning compromise their dedication to a unit's objective?
Yes.
Okay. Should a nation's servicemen and women have a greater understanding of what their government is all about? Interested in your thoughts. Thank you for the podcast and good luck with Jody 3.0, so on and so forth. Australian Jake,
I love you, buddy. That's a long question, long rant. So, just to touch on his one part about, disagreeing that politics doesn't play, of course politics plays a part in what they purchase, but they managed to buy more stuff than Canada for less money, and and I'm talking about big ticket stuff.
right?
He's talking about road wheels and this, and maybe the individual soldier kit and stuff like that. That's, I can't speak to that. I've never used Australian equipment. I know they have one of the best rifles was one of the best rifles for a long, long time. It still is. It's considered it's the Steyr. It's considered one of the better rifles for combat. I think, anyway, from what I've heard, their special operations are amazing by all aspects. but they buy like what their defense committee or roundtable or whatever they call it does is because they're still feeling the effects of World War II when they realized they were kind of on their own for a while against Japan.
Right.
And they had a real threat of being taken over by Japan. Japan was saying, we're going to invade you bitches. And they're still, feeling that type of pressure there, especially with China and stuff now. So they'll buy airplanes, ships, helicopters, like the big ticket stuff.
Right. Yep.
More with what's best for the nation in mind.
Okay.
That's the theory. Of course, there's going to be politics even in those decisions, but it's supposed to be taken out to a point where, unlike in Canada, where the next political party will just cancel a purchase or alter a purchase, or we're at the point where our Navy is almost completely non-functional. Right. For big tickets, we're like leasing boats,
right? Okay,
from companies. Like, it's ridiculous.
We got rentals now.
Our last major destroyer, I believe, is about to be decommissioned because it's too old. Like,
right?
Our it's shameful in my opinion. Like, and this, the program that the Harper government tried to put in place, this big war between the different shipyards and blah and this that, and I get it's a lot of money and it's a lot of but just make some decisions.
Right.
Like, procurement in Canada is such, and I don't care whose feathers I'm ruffling or whatever, at the individual soldier level, there's some things that you just still shake your head at a little bit, but for the most part, we had some of the best gear in NATO.
Right.
When it came to like just individual like load carry, our rifles, the C7 rifle, I'll never have enough good things to say about it. The C7, C8 made here in Canada, look like an M4 and an M16, but are not way different, but are built to different tolerances and slightly different specs, which makes it, in my opinion, a superior rifle. And even the U.S. military is looking at buying the Canadian-made version of the AR-15. But we went a long time without tanks, and then we got a guy like General Rick Hillier came in as chief defense staff and was like, "You guys, you're sending me to war. You're buying me these tanks. You're buying me these helicopters. You're buying me these planes."
Right.
And the government at the time was like, "Yeah, cool." And they did a bunch of basically off-the-shelf purchases because, like, I always laugh when you see stuff like mil-spec construction for like flashlights or sunglasses. Like, that means lowest bidder, right?
Right.
Like, almost everything the military gets is lowest bidder.
Right, okay.
And if it's not lowest bidder, it's like the next lowest bidder, but because the lowest bidder was just too shitty.
Right, yeah.
For anyone to accept and take responsibility for purchasing. So anyway, just to touch on that, like, I wasn't saying like there was no political involvement, but the idea is that the politics is taken out and the best interest of the country are supposed to be put forward, and that's why they have attack choppers. Canada doesn't have attack choppers.
Right.
It's ridiculous. We should have attack choppers.
Yeah.
We're buying these F-35s, which is great, but we bought a fleet of, I want to say 130 F-18s in the 70s or early 80s. Now we're going to scrap those. And we had a few other planes, like I think it was the F-105, which they had just refurbished a bunch of them for like ground support and that. And the Air Force like took an opportunity to get rid of them. And because having multiple planes or anything, multiple fleet costs a lot more than just having like one type of plane, right?
Right, okay.
And so, and then, where was I going with that? So, so anyway, Rick Hillier came in and was like, we need this, we need that. But we still don't have, like I said, attack choppers. When it comes to ground support, we're gonna decommission the fleet of F-18s, which is like with all the crashes and all the cannibalism of parts because of the lack of funding to keep them up. I think we're down to like 80 or 90.
Right.
Like, that's how many we've lost to accidents and just like over the years, like, because airframes wear out too, right? So they got to be put aside, and then the parts that are still useful get They had
Recycled.
to take parts out of a museum piece once a couple years ago to keep a plane flying.
Right.
It's so ridiculous. But
Yeah.
but anyway, actually there was a C-130, the cargo plane that was designed during Vietnam that we still use, and we just bought a whole bunch more.
Right.
Actually, under Rick Hillier, we just bought like a bunch of the latest version, which they're still an awesome plane. I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
But we had one that was so old, the company that built it wanted to buy it back to be like, we don't understand how this thing is still flying.
No way.
There's just way too many hours, and Canada was like, no, we need it.
We're gonna keep flying that. Actually,
we can't.
Yeah.
Until we get some new ones, we can't afford to lose this one.
Yeah. Unreal.
But anyway, so we're going to get rid of these F-18s, which are awesome. Love the F-18. Would have loved to have them in Afghanistan.
Right.
We had Marine F-18s, which is fine. U.S. Marines, they fly the same plane, and they're awesome with it. Great at ground support. Canadian pilots, by all measure, are awesome at ground support when they're available. I never got the privilege of calling in a Canadian pilot.
Right.
But we're going to get 65 of these F-35s.
Okay.
For ridiculous money.
Right.
And I get it. They're state of the art. They're awesome. They're stealth. They're blah, 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 blah. I'm not a pilot. I could give a shit. Some pilots say they're awesome. I've heard from other pilots that they're a pile of junk. Nobody knows. Nobody's flown them yet.
Right.
65?
Yeah.
Really?
What are we gonna do with them?
65.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. Just doesn't seem like enough.
Yeah.
But maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
I don't know.
Maybe they're so badass that you don't need it.
I'm a ground guy. I was a sniper. I'd call in airstrikes and artillery and all that. And I'm like, what if there's not one available for when I need to call, or not me now, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been awesome to get a Canadian accent at the other end of my radio once.
Right.
I never had French. I had Dutch. I had British. I had American.
Right.
No Canadian accents at the other end of my radio when I was calling for help, except for artillery. For artillery, for sure, we had lots of artillery support. As you might have read in my book, Unflinching: The Making of a Canadian Sniper,
Indeed.
Available at all bookstores and online, Amazon and Kindle and Kobo.
Yeah. Everything. And iTunes.
And iTunes.
That's
and
right.
I'm still pushing for the audiobook.
Yeah.
They don't want to do an audiobook.
Come on. What? Why not?
I don't know.
Man, the audiobook is where it's at.
They say Canadians don't buy them,
They're liars.
but Americans do.
This Canadian buys them.
I buy them all the time, too.
Yep.
Anyway, so the politics and soldiers. Okay, so the biggest danger of politics and soldiers is you end up with things like that happen in Turkey. You end up like in Rome, they had the Praetorian Guard, which ended up becoming so political it would just kill the emperor if they didn't like it.
Right.
I was of the same mindset as Australian Jake, that you as a soldier, it's not your job to worry about who's in charge.
Right.
Your boss is the Canadian government. The Canadian government is elected by the Canadian people.
Right.
The Canadian people decide to put the Communist Party in charge. Well, now we might have a problem.
Sure.
But
Sure.
until you take that uniform off, your job is to do what
Right.
your government tells you.
That's right.
Unless it involves raping and pillaging.
Yeah.
Because that's not on, right? That's not how we do things anymore.
That's right.
So, and I say it in my book, and if you talk to most guys, a lot of Army people and veterans, we lean right, because perception is that the conservative government support the military more. I would argue that that's more of a myth, because they're the ones that are. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I know that the liberal governments are not keen on spending the money that's required, but
Right.
but they do love to send us on missions.
Okay.
Like they just announced in Canada, like it's a unique announcement. They said, yeah, we have this 600 personnel peacekeeping force,
Right.
and now we just need a mission. Normally, you get a mission, and then you build the force that you need.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So now they've taken the opposite approach, which shows that they have a hard-on to get into to get back into the good with the UN, something that
Right.
the last government had almost no interest in.
Okay.
And as a soldier, I can tell you that peacekeeping is not what it sounds like.
Right.
Actually, I'm going to do a review of my buddy's book called Ghost Keeper.
Right.
by Scott Casey. And actually, you can get that on Amazon right now. If you guys want to read an awesome book about what it's actually like to be a peacekeeper. So Scott Casey, he was in the RCR, the Royal Canadian Regiment, and he was one of the first Canadians. He was amongst the first Canadians into Bosnia, Herzegovina, and all that when the mission started. Like they left their base in Lahr in Germany, and they took a train. Like that's how close, because that's how close we were back then. That's when we still had bases in Germany. Great book, and it just shit like it's peacekeeping, like barely.
Right. Okay.
Like, and they've even said like any mission we get sent on today will be peacemaking.
Right.
And because usually peacekeeping traditionally is, there's been a ceasefire signed, and the neutral party rolls in to kind of just keep sides apart.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That isn't how things happen anymore.
That's not how it goes down.
Right. But even then, like both sides, the Croatians and the Yugoslavians, and eventually what turned out to be the Serbs, were like, you're in my way and I want to go kill those guys.
Right.
So why don't you just get out of my way?
Yeah.
And if you don't, I'm going to shoot at you.
Aha.
And a lot of shooting happened, but it wasn't reported by the government.
Okay.
But anyway,
Interesting book.
I don't know. It's also an interesting way to go about building your policy.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't know. Like the troops, as long as they were supported, and like I said, that's my thing. Like with all these equipment purchases and stuff, that the troops have to be supported. And like I said, personal equipment. Our army is well trained, well equipped right now because of Afghanistan. It's got a whole ton of combat veterans, so the leadership should be good to go.
Yep.
And so they're probably chomping at the bit and sharpening their bayonets and just getting ready to go in and kick some ass, take some names wherever they're sent.
Right on.
But as far as again politics and soldiers, it's a dangerous thing to spend too much time worrying about politics as a soldier, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I tried not to. Like I said, and as I write in the book, that I felt like I work for the people, and the people elect the government. So the government, whoever they are, is who I work for.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So that's it.
All right.
Was that the first question?
Yeah.
How many more?
We have 3 more.
Give me a fun one.
Short.
Not that Australian Jake wasn't fun.
No,
but I talked about a lot of other stuff.
It was just okay. Short one, super fun. Do snipers leave the roll of toilet paper over or under? This is important.
What's a roll?
The roll of toilet paper. On the roll.
Snipers don't use toilet paper.
See, I like
Not
that.
a roll of toilet paper.
I like that.
So anyone who's been in the military knows that rations come with what you call the toilet ticket.
Aha.
And the toilet ticket is it's mostly in the American rations. I think the Canadian ones have it now, but the Canadian one, so it's this little tiny napkin.
Right.
Or it's like this little. It's about the size of like the old school movie ticket.
Right. Okay.
So that's why it's called the toilet ticket.
Yeah.
But when you unravel it, it's all this. Basically, it could be a napkin, it could be a Kleenex, or it could be ass wipe.
Right on.
We also carry a high ratio of baby wipes.
Right. Okay. I like that.
So, you do your business, and in the field, before baby wipes, I don't know what we did, but you don't want to be uncomfortable.
Right.
Again, as I write in my book, you don't want bum monkeys.
That's right.
And you don't want to get a rash. So, the baby wipes are there to, you can use them to clean yourself down.
Yep.
But you gotta wash it out.
Yeah.
In the field, you got a bunch of toilet tickets. You got some baby wipes all up there in your Ziploc bag.
Yep.
And and that's how you do it. And the Canadian rations, last time I was doing stuff, you got this big paper towel looking thing.
Right.
And it was folded in 4. And you would unfold it, and it was fairly thick because it was about 8 plies.
Okay.
And you could peel a ply.
Aha.
And use that for your business.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the little hand, like the little lemony scented hand wipe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you save that for last, and you unfolded it, and you fucking
clean up. There you go.
Clean everything up. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I like that.
But at home,
yeah,
always over.
of course.
The patent on toilet paper has it going over.
Is that right?
Yeah, fun fact.
Nice. I knew you'd know that for some reason.
Yeah, and I'm full of UFI like that.
Yeah.
It's brutal. But you know how in a lot of commercial toilet dispensary things,
Right?
they use like one ply?
Yeah.
Like if you're at the mall or something?
Right, sure.
Under always breaks. Over, you can pull.
That's true.
So, hey, anybody whose job it is to replace the toilet roll
Yeah.
in a commercial area,
Take notice.
over.
Over, please.
Don't mess with me.
No.
Don't mess with my private time.
No. One square at a time? Come on.
Oh, buddy. Nothing drives me crazier. I've even done the like unlock it, flip it
Right.
over.
You're pulling the switcheroo.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll do your job for you then.
Nice.
Fine.
For
'Cause
sure.
I got some business I got to take care of here, and I don't have time to be ripping off one sheet at a time.
Just helping the community.
I'm just doing my part, man.
That's right. Cool. All right. Moving on. Have you seen the movie Captain Phillips with Tom Hanks?
I
Are
have
you familiar?
not. No. I do. I am familiar.
Okay.
Look at me.
Yes.
I am the captain now.
That's right. That's right. That's pretty good, actually. So we have one of our dudes, Chris, on Instagram, asked if you could talk a bit about what would go into the shot that was taken to free Captain Phillips. So, if you've seen the movie, I have a picture to show you. So Captain Phillips is in that lifeboat.
Yeah.
right?
And the guys were on the deck of the destroyer, right?
That's right. That's right.
100 feet?
About 100 feet. So, and shots were fired at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it's called a group fire.
Right?
And so what happens is there's each shooter, and then there's the commander of the group. And the commander, like, because like at my team, right, there was 3 of us, and I was the team lead, right? But like, so say if my team was deployed and another team was deployed, somebody would have control,
Right.
and somebody would be observing the same target as all the shooters, but it'd be like, okay, so Alpha left, Bravo center, Charlie right. Confirm on, right? So it'd be like, and Navy SEALs have their lingo. My lingo is rusty, so it's not going to be exactly like this, but on, and then you confirm. Okay, so Alpha, your target is on the left, wearing blue T-shirt, ball cap. Roger that. Yep. Center, your target is, or Bravo, your target is center, white T-shirt, red shorts.
Right.
Roger that. Charlie, your target's right. Blah blah, blah whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And then, so both boats are going to be rocking, right? I've never done a shot like this. I was a land sniper.
Yeah.
Because I didn't join the Navy because I didn't want to be on a boat.
That's right.
So, but this is what Navy SEALs do, and it's all about. So these guys are experts at marine warfare, right?
Yeah.
Aquatic warfare, right? That's what they do. That's why they came to be. So they practice shooting off the deck of ships all the time, right? And for that shot, they probably spent a lot of time practicing out of range of the pirates.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, so they probably worked their way up
Oh, cool.
to this. Like they
Right.
probably were practicing, and then but because there's negotiation, right? Because they were trying to negotiate their way out of this.
That's right.
Like this was a last resort. But while they're doing the talking, guys like me and Jocko are out preparing for the last resort,
Right.
and hoping it becomes the last resort. So, whatever they did, they might have had like dinghy, like they might have sent a dinghy out with some dummies in it and some targets and just practiced.
Yeah.
So the guy in command, right? So you have your 3 shooters. Each one may or may not have a spotter, and they're all going to be on the same radio, the same channel, and then you're going to have your controller.
Right.
And the controller will say, most likely, he'll be like, I have control. I'll confirm. And then like Alpha Bravo Charlie will confirm that they're on target. I'll confirm. And so he's waiting for that moment. And also, and I don't know what the command and control was on the ground or on the water there, but the guy in control was probably waiting for the green light from command.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So so command was probably like, you know what? As soon as Phillips is confirmed alive, because I think that wasn't it like he came out of the hatch,
Yes.
and like they like showed him that he was alive.
That's right.
because the guy that was with Phillips, because they could have killed the first two guys, I think, but the third guy wouldn't come out of the boat, I think.
Yeah.
So as soon as that guy popped the hatch, that's when they were like.
That's when the two were taken out.
I thought it was three.
Yeah, but like there was two that were in the back, and then one that was shot like through the front, I think. No, not through the front, but he was in a different different portion.
I thought he was in like a hatch, and he opened a hatch, and that's when they were confirmed all three targets.
Because it said 2 pirates shot dead as they emerged from the back of the lifeboat, and I think that was when they had to prove.
And then a third one was already on the deck or something, right? This is a while ago. You know what? I haven't seen the movie, but regardless, so it'll be like I have control. And if I hang on, let me try and remember the lingo. Yeah, it's like, you know, it would be what was the command? It would be like, on my command, all fire.
Right.
3, 2, 1, fire, and then you all fire within it's within a second.
Okay.
But like, because the countdown is coming, and that's when you're prepping, because he's gonna say all confirm on, Alpha Bravo Charlie, right? And this is all like, you know, they would have their sequence because they work together.
Yep.
Roger that, all on, prepare to fire, on my command, 3, 2, 1, fire, and that's giving the shooters their like lead up time, because you got to prep yourself, right? You got to. Okay, and then so 3, 2, and then 1, and like as he's saying 1, that's when you're starting to squeeze the trigger and you're taking that half breath,
right?
And then hopefully you're right between heartbeats. And at 100 feet too, though, with a 300 Win Mag, you got to try pretty hard, because there's not a lot of like, because the bullet's so fast and so powerful that because that's a hostage rescue shot, so you want to be as close as possible,
right?
So if the boat was 100 feet away, that takes away a lot of your error,
right? Okay,
remember I talked about this.
Yeah.
A millimeter at 1,000 meters is a meter.
That's right.
And if you jerk a trigger, or if you pull the trigger at the wrong time, for sure it's more than a millimeter,
right?
Yeah. But at 100 feet, right, what's that? That's 90 meters ish, or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. It's like it's
like
about
94 meters.
No. 3 feet in a meter.
Right.
Yeah. So you're talking like more like be like 33 meters.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, like you have a lot of room for error at that range.
Right.
That doesn't take away that these are amazing shots, because remember, both boats are moving in different directions.
Yeah.
You got a hostage to consider. You know, a lot of things, a lot of moving parts here, which is why it's so incredible that it went off without a hitch.
Right.
Remember, we talked about this. That cop that shot the guy at the train station in Toronto, like in the early thousands,
right?
He was 33 feet away.
Right.
Right, because you have to be that close so that your margin of error is minimized, and that the bullet is going to go, you know, definitely penetrate the target,
right,
and
no
cause
doubt.
instant kill.
Yeah.
Right. So at 100 feet, like you said, roughly 35 meters ish, 33 meters, that bullet that I assume they were using 300 Win Mag because they're American, big ass bullet, heavy, fast, and that bullet's going to travel that distance and like way faster, and it's big enough, heavy enough, and fast enough that it's going to punch right through the target for sure.
Right.
And instant death.
Right.
There's no walking that one off.
Yeah.
Not at that range. Yeah, but you know, like or they did it a way that is completely different from what I just said.
Right. Yeah.
Every unit has their own little thing.
Sure. But a lot goes into that.
For sure, they practiced it.
Yeah.
At least, you know, knowing Navy SEALs, they probably practiced it no less than a dozen times.
Right.
Prior. Individually and as a group.
Yeah.
because they're going to be out practicing just their individual marksman. Because you can be like, I can get behind a sniper rifle today, even though I haven't shot one for a while, and probably hit a target at a couple hundred meters. No big deal.
Right.
But with any kind of real precision, I got to work my way down, right?
Right.
Like,
Okay.
And by hit the target, I mean like once.
Yeah.
To do like a 1-inch group at 100, like that, I would need like a good couple days to work back up to that.
Right. Okay.
To get my skills proficient enough for that.
Yeah.
And so they would have gone out and they would have been like, who knows how long it had been since they shot their rifles.
Yeah.
So they would have zeroed their rifles. They would have, okay, yeah. They would have written down their dope. They would have figured it out. They would have, been ranging it and been like, because they probably even got like the commander of whoever job it was to say, go ahead and shoot the bad guys.
Yep.
For like, how close do you need to be?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you know what? If you can get us to within like 100 feet, like, like 75% chance that we can pull it off.
Right. Yeah.
Good, good enough for me or whatever.
Yep.
And so negotiate, get closer. And then it's like, okay, we're within your window. What do you feel? And the commander, right, would have been like alpha, like confirm. And, like there's all going to be all kinds of checks and balances along the way.
Right on.
But we know the result.
Yep.
3 amazing shots.
Very cool.
1 live Captain Phillips.
There you go.
3 dead pirates.
Big win.
Win. Everybody wins. High fives all around.
Yep, for sure. Okay.
Bust out the Budweiser.
Yeah. One more.
One more.
One more question.
And then I got to go to bed.
Yeah, me too.
And I got to get my peanut butter and my protein shake.
Ooh, yeah. We're going to stay on shooting from Rob on Instagram. No, this one came in from the Twitters. He says, I am a cross-dominant shooter. I've generally shot...
Oh, that one came in today.
Oh, yeah?
No.
No, he sent... unless he sent it again.
Okay.
So I'm a cross-dominant shooter. I've generally shot from my hand-dominant side. Should I switch it up before I start long rifle?
So what?
So here you go.
Okay, so he shoots right and aims left, I guess. So what that means is that so he'll pull the trigger with his right finger.
Yep.
But he'll aim with his left eye.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And you see this sometimes.
Right.
There's no real. You just kind of either you learn to deal with it or you don't.
Right.
I've never seen anyone. You know what? There might be techniques out there. Maybe Google it and go on YouTube. There's all kinds of people who say they're experts at this stuff. My experience has been that if it's working for you, even if it's against everything literature says and every advice, all the old scouts will tell you at the range, oh, you can't shoot like that. If you're hitting the target, then go ahead and roll with it.
Then it works, yeah.
Gonna go ahead and say it works.
Yep.
You can't argue with results.
Yep.
So that's what I would do. Try it, but if it bugs you, then maybe try it the other way. I remember being able to shoot left-handed, left eye relatively well.
Right.
And we were just messing around one day at the range. We were like doing standing shooting, I remember one time. And it felt weird, but I was still able to pull it off for a bunch of shots.
Right. Okay.
Would I shoot at the guy holding a gun to Captain Phillips' head that way? No.
Right. No.
But for sure, experiment with it. Like I've tried to tell you guys, shooting is a lot like anything else. A lot like the advice Luke will give you in the coach's corner and stuff. There's the way it's written down, and then there's the way you feel.
Yeah.
And if it's working for you and you like it and you're comfortable, hey man, roll with it, despite what anybody tells you.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's like diet, it's like exercise, like anything. Like if it works for you, cool. Try it the right way, because there's always a right way.
Yeah.
But then you kind of drift to the way you do it based on the core principles, though. As long as you meet all the marksmanship principles, you should be good.
Right on. I like it.
Yeah.
That's it for the questions.
Yeah. So, love you guys. Love you, Luke. Love Greco. I'm really hungry. I'm in my last 90 days, so we're going to try and keep me, every time I'm here, if I'm grumpy, then you got to pull me out of it. Because I'm going to be hangry a lot soon.
I'm going to fight you a little bit.
No, I will be too weak. I'm like,
Exactly. Perfect.
But I am still like I think I drank 7 liters of water today
Ooh,
plus coffee.
that's wet.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
My minimum is 5.
Right. Okay.
I leave the house every morning now with like a 4-liter jug and like a 1-liter Nalgene. And I just fill up the Nalgene.
Okay.
So now I know
Right
5
on.
liters.
I dig that.
Yeah.
Getting it in.
Yeah. I was done my 5 liters before 5 today. I was actually pretty impressed.
Right on.
Yeah. Anyway, all that other stuff aside, this was episode 13 of the Jody Mitic podcast. Here we are, Greco Orleans. Thanks so much. Luke, where can they find you?
Coach Luke Rowan on the Instagrams and Twitters.
And you can find me, Jody Mitic, JodyMitic, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. Although on Snapchat, I tend to just respond to messages. I don't really post a lot. And, as we keep saying, and I had this discussion with my kid the other day again, we're the good guys. And despite what some people might think of us, there's always going to be the bad guys, and we're going to need people to be the good guys. And if you're going to be a good guy, you got to be tough. But we are the good guys. Signing off, Jody Mitic Podcast, episode 13. Out.